when you purchase anything, you are in effect ranking units of money against units of goods. Whenever you purchase, let's say you go and purchase DVDs on sale from Best Buy, what you do is you buy as many DVDs, or you buy DVDs, up to the point where the last DVD would have a lower marginal utility ranking than, let's say, the last $10, okay? So if you buy 3 DVDs, that implies that the marginal utility of those DVDs exceed the marginal utility of $10. Now the point is, once you start talking about the marginal utility of money, you have to have an idea of how much that money can purchase. Or how important is that money to you, that price, that $10? And that can only be based on some expectation that money is going to have a given purchasing power in the market, immediately or at some point in the immediate future. So now we see that you have a monetary economy and that the marginal utility of money is very important. So when we advance to the monetary economy, we have to assume a third datum constant, and that is the demand for and the supply of money. That has to be assumed constant, which means that fixes the purchasing power. Now that purchasing power, as I said, can be an expected purchasing power. What will money buy at the point that I'm going into the market? Now, it's necessary to assume purchasing power fixed because without fixed purchasing power, there would be no way to construct or formulate for the actor a coherent value scale upon which they're going to act. So the concept of a Giffen good now implicitly violates the ceteris paribus assumption because it allows the demand for money, a basic datum, to change at the same time that the change in the supply of a particular good is being analyzed. So we're looking at the overall supply of some good, let's say potatoes. We're allowing it to increase. And then we're tracing out how the marginal utility will fall on people's value scales. If you allow at the same time the purchasing power of money to change, then it may be the case that money may fall at the same time in marginal utility rankings as the good is. In which case, you may very well wind up with a situation where you're actually buying more potatoes at a higher price or fewer potatoes at a lower price. Any economic exchange redistributes income and wealth, which causes changes in people's value scale. So, for example, if we're analyzing an increase in the supply of money, we know, Mises has shown us that money is non-neutral, so that means when there's an increase in supply of money, it doesn't just raise prices, but at each step, it changes the distribution of wealth, because money is injected at a certain point and then is spent in a certain sequence. So the whole distribution of wealth changes, which means that some people who may demand money more have wealth redistributed in their favor, and others may be disadvantaged by that change. Now, what that could mean is that even though the supply of money has gone up, if the people who receive a lot of the new money have an increased demand for money or a higher demand for money than the people who did not receive it, you could get the case where prices do not fall. Do we say, therefore, that the demand for money is maybe horizontal? No, of course not. We say all other things given, we abstract from distribution effects, redistributions of wealth and income. We say that if you increase the supply of money, prices will rise. That's just a ceteris paribus effect. And in fact, that's why we have an illusion of an upward sloping supply curve under the Giffen good. Because what we're allowing to happen, or what the people who believe in a Giffen good are allowing to happen, is that as the price of potatoes goes up, they're implicitly allowing the purchasing power of money of the heavy consumers of potatoes to be reduced. Their wealth is being reduced. So their whole value scale is being revolutionized. It's a different value scale. So the way to explain this ultimately is to point out that at the same time that the price of potatoes is falling, that the supply is increased, the price of potatoes is falling, for those people who buy a lot of potatoes, they're also experiencing at the same time an increase in the demand for potatoes because it's an inferior good. That is, as their income and their wealth falls, they will purchase more of that good. But overall, I'll end with this. The market demand curve has to slope downward. And the reason why it has to slope downward is because with a method of variations, you go back to the initial data, you allow one datum to change, the supply, and for that supply to clear the market, when it increases, there has to be a decline in prices. So the overall market demand curve slopes downward. For segments of the population, it also slopes downward. However, there's an illusion there because we're allowing wealth and income to be redistributed, which violates the premise that all other things are held constant. Thank you.